Today, I'm breaking down the 7 controversial truths about dating that most people don't want to hear but need to understand. Truth number 1, dating has not gotten worse nearly as much as people think. There's this popular idea that for the last several hundred years, dating was pretty good, and only in recent times has it gone to shit. But this is actually false. For example, in the 1700s, Jane Austen was writing books about how women were picking these unreliable bad boys over good, stable men. And this was long before dating apps even existed. In the 1800s, people didn't ghost, they deserted. It was so common that courts and newspapers had a word for it. In fact, a lot of times you would see ads in newspaper, people looking for their lost spouse who ran away from home. And usually what they would do is they would just change their name and remarry. Then we go to the 1900s where you see a lot of Dear John letters. It was particularly common while the husband was fighting at World War I and World War II, the wife would send him a Dear John letter basically saying, hey, I'm over this marriage and goodbye. People have always cheated. People have always gotten their hearts broken, and some people have always had happy marriages. A percentage of men and women have always behaved selfishly. That's why love has always carried a risk and a reward. You notice online that some guys tend to overglorify the 1950s as if it was this golden time to date. But in reality, most of the time, you just wound up marrying the first girl you had sex with. Think of yourself right now. Would you want to spend the rest of your life with the girl you lost your virginity to? For me, that's going to be a hard no. Also, women were taking prescription pills at an insanely high level because they were miserable. People just suffered in silence. A good movie that depicts this is Revolutionary Road with Leonardo DiCaprio, so check that out if you want to see what was life like in the 1950s. At least now, if you made a bad decision, you can get a divorce without being stigmatized by society. Human nature has always been the same. It's technology that's changed. Truth number 2, dating apps did not ruin dating or relationships. Before the apps, people usually dated coworkers or people they met at church or at school. It wasn't that their behavior was better, it was that they had limited options. Dating apps didn't magically make people more shallow. It gave them more options, and options reveal character. More choice reveals who lacks loyalty, who chases novelty, and who doesn't know what the fuck they want. That's not an app problem, that's a human problem. Apps are not a poison, they're a magnifying glass. For example, 50 years ago, someone who is shallow and who lacks loyalty, they might have dated you for a few months until they met someone better through work and they would have left you for that person. Nowadays, that same exact person will probably leave you by the second date because they met someone else through an app. Which one of those scenarios is better? I would say probably the latter. If apps were ruining dating, then 1/3 of the population would not be dating someone they met through an app. And I'm a good example of this. I'm in a happy relationship of 5 years from a girl I met on Bumble. Also, people would have entirely abandoned apps. I know what you're thinking. Well, what about the fact that Tinder lost 10% of its users? But that's just one app. If you look at Hinge, for example, they show 33% more users year over year. So some of the fringe apps have gotten bigger and Tinder's gotten a little smaller. The problem isn't dating apps. For guys, it's not understanding what makes a good set of photos, how to message a girl, or what to do on a date or how to set one up. For women, it's not understanding how to clearly communicate what they want or how to screen out guys who are not looking for the same thing. Dating apps actually work quite well for people who understand human nature rather than fight it. Truth number 3, women do not communicate even half as good as they think they do. It seems like a cultural axiom that women are just the better communicators, but that's not necessarily the case. Women generally communicate emotion, how they feel in that moment, and then generally communicate information, and both often fail at interpreting each other. Communication is a skill that needs to be learned for both men and women, especially understanding each other's way of communication. And one of the biggest causes of poor communication is a lack of self-awareness, which the majority of people have. Most people are simply incapable of truly putting their foot in the other person's shoe, and that's one of the biggest issues that causes relationships to end. Truth number 4, men and women are taught completely different relationship rules. Men are taught how to be respectful, how to be providers, how to be a gentleman, all things that are largely useless, but what they're not taught is actually how attraction really works. How to actually seduce a woman, right? How to actually establish clear boundaries, how to screen out the girls who are not looking for the same thing as you, and how to truly get respect from women. Hint, it's not just opening doors. Women, on the other hand, are largely taught what to expect from men and how to be treated like a princess, but what they're not taught is how to actually treat a man, how male communication works, and what men really want in a relationship. And this mismatch causes relationship issues and resentment on both sides. Truth number 5, people who won't settle usually wind up alone. There's no perfect person. Every relationship has trade-offs. You just need to find someone for whom the positives far outweigh the negatives. The goal should not be perfection, but fit. Who's someone who generally has the same values and goals as you? Who's someone who adds a lot more to your life than they subtract? Red pillars often talk about cooking and cleaning, but those are things that are relatively negligible. You can easily find someone who's going to clean your place and do meal prep for you, but can you find someone who's going to truly make you feel loved, someone that you can grow with, someone that's going to be by your side no matter what? Those are things you can't pay for, and those are the things that truly determine long-term happiness. Truth number 6, men should see multiple women early on until they enter an exclusive relationship. The goal is not to play girls, but it's to avoid projecting fantasies onto the first woman that shows you attention. Scarcity usually results in bad decisions. Sadly, it is extremely common for guys to wife up the first decent looking girl that's willing to fuck them. This ignores the myriad of other things you should be looking for, like loyalty, honesty, stability, and mental health. These are the things that will determine whether this she will be a good wife or relationship will end in horrible disaster. You always want to pick from abundance, not scarcity. Truth number 7, almost nobody is truly ugly. The number of people who are truly unattractive is about the same as the number of people who are truly beautiful. And that is a very low number. Over 90% of people, men and women, are genetically between a 4 and a 7. The people doing better in the dating scene are usually just better at 3 things. Number 1 is going to be putting themselves out there. Number 2 is going to be presenting themselves via good fashion, good fitness, good style and grooming, and also how they reflect that in the photos. And number 3 is going to be just being fun and interesting to be around. Most people aren't born ugly. They just don't take care of themselves. Case in point being all the fat people that you see who are capable of losing weight. Here you can see plenty of examples of people who started off extremely unattractive who became very dateable just with basic transformations like losing weight, putting on muscle, going to the gym, getting better fashion, getting better grooming. All of that can make a guy who's unfuckable very fuckable. Alright, hope you guys found this video valuable. The first step to becoming fuckable is making sure you subscribe to this channel, hitting the bell for notification so you don't miss any more of my videos. Seriously, if you don't hit the bell, my videos will just not show up in your feed. And also getting my free Tinder guide, link for that's going to be in the description. It's going to show you how to get really good photos, how to write the kind of bio that makes you stand out in the dating marketplace, and texting so you can turn all the girls you're going to match with the good photos into dates. Link in the description. Thank you guys. Until next time.